In 2025, while we scroll through our feeds, 25 million North Koreans cannot choose their jobs, their homes, or even whether to cry when their child dies. Today, you'll hear from a former North Korean military officer who led 9 of her soldiers across 2 frozen rivers and through 3 countries to freedom. A woman who, for the first time, asked herself a question and answered it by crossing the border. This is the story of 10 women who made it out together. If these stories matter to you, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us bring these untold stories to light. It all started like this. I grew up in Haizen, a small city in Ryanggang province, pressed right against the Yalu River. On a clear day, you could see the Chinese bank on the other side close enough to reach out and touch. As a kid, I never thought of it as a different world. It was just the view. Every morning before dawn, my mother made corn porridge. That warm, earthy smell rising from our kitchen. Close my eyes now and it's right there. My father died when I was 10. After that, it was just my mother, my younger brother, and me. We were poor, but I didn't know what poor meant. Everyone around us lived the same way. The neighbors, the relatives, all of them. When I was 15, the military selected me for my athletic abilities. My mother cried. On the morning I left, she turned away and spoke quietly. Just stay alive. That was all. My chest was full of pride. My country had chosen me. I didn't understand why her words were so short. I didn't understand why she stood there, fists clenched, crying where I couldn't see. 19 years as a soldier. Even after making platoon leader, I was up every morning at 5. Running the mountain behind the Haizen base with my troops. The slope was steep, lungs burning, legs screaming. Stopping was never an option. The belief that I was protecting my country carried me through everything. In the fall of 2024, the food rations stopped. 1 month, then 2, then half a year. Word from above, it will be resolved soon. My soldiers grew thin. After training, some of them would collapse. I started sharing my own rations. I was their platoon leader. It was the only natural thing to do. Back then, even saying you were hungry was dangerous. It could look like discontent. We watched each other carefully. Decades of that kind of life had sealed our mouths shut. You already know, in that world, one wrong word could end a person. On night watch, I stared across the Yalu at the lights on the Chinese side. Street lamps, buildings, so much brighter than our bank. I forced myself to look away. Something about those lights felt like a warning, and I didn't want to hear what they were saying. Then one winter night, a thought crept in for the first time. Do the people over there have enough to eat? The moment it surfaced, I flinched. Shook my head. No, we're fine. Everything is fine. The words played on a loop in my head, but after that night, those lights wouldn't leave me. And quietly, somewhere deep inside, something began to crack. That winter was brutal. January 2025. Temperatures sank past -22 Fahrenheit, day after day. Heating in the barracks had long since failed. My soldiers slept in double layers of uniform. Breathe out white clouds, even indoors. Nobody complained. We all knew it wouldn't change anything. That morning, we came back from pre-dawn training and Gang Mi Jeong was missing. She was always the first one in position, never late, never absent. That day, she wasn't there. A strange sound came from behind the storage shed. Wind, I thought at first. Then I got closer. Mi Jeong was slumped against the wall, crying. No sound, just tears running down her face. I asked what happened. After a long silence, my daughter died. She starved. Her 3-year-old daughter. Dead a few days ago. Mi Jeong had found out 2 days earlier but said nothing. Personal matters didn't belong in the barracks. She'd been taught that. No words came. 3 years old, a child just learning to walk. Just beginning to say, Mom, and Dad. The sentence reached my ears, but my mind refused to hold it. Command's response? Disciplinary action. Gang Mi Jeong had failed to control her emotions within the unit. A mother who lost her child, and that was the country's answer. A few days later, it was Bak Myung-hwa. Her older brother had been publicly executed. His crime: watching a South Korean drama. One USB drive passed between people and they gathered a crowd in the square and shot him. Myung-hwa heard about it 3 days later. The color drained from her face. After that, she barely touched her food. During training, she'd stand there, staring at nothing. That was when I asked myself for the first time, what have I been carrying a rifle for? I thought I was protecting my country. Protecting the people. But this country handed a grieving mother a punishment. It shot a man in a public square for watching a drama. Was this what I'd been guarding? Once that question took root, there was no clearing it out. Sleep stopped coming. The lights across the river kept surfacing in my mind. I tried to push them down, but the will to look away was gone. Something was breaking inside me quietly. 19 years of everything I'd built, coming apart. One tear from Mi Jiang. One shot fired at Myung-hwa's brother. That was all it took. The decision came quickly. From the day I saw Mi Jiang's tears, the questions circled without stopping. Nights without sleep. Mid-training, mid-meal, the same loop, over and over. Can I keep living this way? Is this right? Is this even living? 19 years as a soldier. And for the first time, the ground beneath my feet felt like it was giving way. Around that time, surveillance inside the unit intensified. After the execution, command had tightened ideological inspections. Even among ourselves, we measured every word at meals. We lived as if someone were always watching because someone always was. In that world, speaking your heart was the same as gambling with your life. Still, I found the courage. The first person I went to was Zhang Hairan. Sharp instincts, trained in reconnaissance. One night during a shift change on watch, we crossed paths for just a moment. In a low voice, I asked, "Do you want to live?" She looked at me, then nodded. No words. The eyes were enough. Next was Gang Mi Jiang. Since losing her daughter, the light had gone out of her. She looked like someone with nothing left. I took her hand quietly. "Come with us." She held my gaze for a long time. Then, barely above a whisper, I couldn't even bury her next to me. And for the first time in a long time, she cried with sound. One by one, I came to each of them. Bak Myung-hwa, Ri Jung-wei, Cho Young-sun, Yun-sun Mi, O Jiam-sil, Sin Bok-sun, I am Son-wei. All 9 quiet, the way soldiers are. When I asked if they'd come, they nodded. Some cried. Some closed their eyes and opened them again. Not one of them hesitated. That's how the 10 of us made our promise. Then we became soldiers again. Feelings set aside, heads engaged. Everything we'd learned in special forces turned now toward escape. Bak Myung-hwa pulled up the terrain. She'd memorized during training the shallowest crossing point on the Yalu, the intervals between Chinese patrols. The guard shift times at the border posts. Oh Jiam-sil drew on her river crossing experience to plot the route. I am Son-wei could navigate by starlight. Ri Jung-wei drafted the list of medical supplies. One rule: all 9 come with me. Not one left behind. A soldier's first duty is the mission. But that day, I gave myself a new one, not handed down by any government, but chosen by me. All 10. Every single one. We picked early February. The deepest cold of the year. Darkness and freezing temperatures were on our side. The night before we left, everything almost ended. Early February. Heisen, -13 Fahrenheit. My soldiers lay in the barracks pretending to sleep. One last time, I ran through the plan in my head: distance to the shallowest crossing point. Guard shift times, how long the river would take. Dozens of rehearsals. I knew it cold. Then the barracks door opened. A senior inspector from the State Security Department. After the execution, surprise inspections had become routine. He moved slowly through the room, scanning. I stood up, fastening my jacket like nothing was wrong. My heart was hammering, but my face had to hold. Platoon leader. Why is everyone still awake at this hour? I answered without blinking. Pre-dawn cold weather fitness training tomorrow morning. Final equipment check. Not a lie, not exactly. We were moving before dawn. That much was true. He studied me for a moment, made one more circuit of the room, and left. The door closed. Slow breath out. Hairan caught my eye, a silent question. One slow blink. We're okay. Past 1 in the morning, we moved to the Yalu. 10 people. Not a sound. All those years of special forces training, compressed into a single night. No footsteps. No light. We reached the riverbank without a single sentry noticing. The river opened up in front of us. Ice clung to the edges. Dark water moved silently through the center. Over 200 yards across a distance I knew from training. But seeing it in the dark was something else. It looked wider, deeper. On the far bank, the Chinese lights burned. The same lights I'd watched since childhood. Decades of staring across that river without imagining the crossing. That night was different. Those lights were pulling us forward. My mother came to me. When she found out I wasn't at morning roll call, what would she do? Leaving without saying goodbye was the one thing I couldn't make peace with. But her words from that morning, so many years ago, were still there. Stay alive. That's why I'm going, I told her in my head. OGM Sil moved up beside me and whispered, I'm a strong swimmer. A small laugh, the last thing I expected in that moment. I know. Take the front. She nodded. The 10 of us stepped toward the river. We didn't look back. The moment my feet touched the water, my heart stopped. January, -13 Fahrenheit. The Yalu was a blade. The cold pierced bone deep the instant my ankles went under. We'd wrapped plastic sheeting over our uniforms. It didn't matter. The water found its way in within seconds. GM Sil cut through the current at the front. I held the rear, watching everyone. Keep moving. Don't stop. Low voice. The guard post upstream was sweeping light across the water. If that beam found us, it was over. Midway across, the current changed. The riverbed shifted underfoot. Invisible, our feet had gone numb long before we reached the middle. Then a splash from behind. I am Son Wei. She'd lost her footing and pitched forward. Face under the water. The river swallowed the sound before it could become a scream. Sin Bok's son grabbed her by the hair and hauled her up. Son Wei spat out river water silent. Eyes bloodshot, she looked at me. No time for questions. I tilted my chin forward. Keep going. She nodded. Then the upstream guard post turned its light toward us. Down. All 10 dropped below the surface. Water at our chins. Eyes just above the waterline. Lungs locked. The beam swept across the river. It passed directly over my head. My pulse was all I could hear. Please. Just please. The light turned away. Move. Final stretch. Gang Mi Jiang staggered. I grabbed her arm and pulled. When my feet hit the muddy Chinese bank, every muscle surrendered at once. I counted under my breath. 1, 2, 10. When I reached 10, my knees finally buckled. I lifted my eyes. 9 faces looked back at me. Soaked. Shaking. Breath rising white in the frozen air. But their eyes were different. Not afraid. Alive. That look, nothing in 19 years of military life had prepared me for it. It's still with me. We slipped into the underbrush and pulled civilian clothes over our wet uniforms. Not soldiers anymore. Just people who needed to survive. Mountains ahead. More beyond those. The real journey was only starting and we knew it. But in that moment, being alive was enough. We never moved during daylight. That rule held from day one on Chinese soil. Sun up, disappear into the mountains. Sundown, walk. Back. Myung-Hwa navigated from memory terrain. She'd mapped in her head during training, reading starlight, tracing ridgelines. South toward Yunnan province and beyond. The first week was the worst. Nothing to eat. We'd crossed the Yalu with a handful of hard crackers. Gang Mi Jiang worked the mountainside for anything. Edible knowledge from growing up on a collective farm. This one's safe. That one's poison. Leaves. Roots. One by one, she showed us. Years of Special Forces survival training had nothing on Mi Jiang's childhood. The woman whose eyes had gone dark. After losing her daughter in those mountains, she was different. Quick hands. Sure eyes. Around the 3rd week, Ri Jung-wei pulled me aside quietly. Her feet, Cho Young-sun's soles, were raw and weeping. Her boots had never fully dried since the river crossing. Jung-wei didn't waste a word. She got to work. Using what she could scavenge from the wilderness. Improvising beyond anything in the field manual. Young-sun bit down hard. Not one sound. I crouched beside her with nothing useful to offer. Just my presence. Sometimes that's all a leader has left. That was the hardest part. Pain you couldn't name. Fear you couldn't admit. Out there in the mountains, that weight pressed down more clearly than it ever had in a barracks. 2 months in, something had changed. We weren't wasting away, we were hardening. The mountains were building us. Sleep by day. Walk by night. Rain press against the rock. Snow hold each other. Someone stumbles, the person beside her reaches out. Words grew fewer. That was fine. We understood each other without them. One night, I am Son Wei murmured while she walked. There are so many stars. I looked up. North Korea, China, here the sky was the same everywhere. Same stars. My mother was under them too, I thought. And strangely, that steadied me. She told me to stay alive. I was alive. Walking, shivering, hollow with hunger, but alive. 3 months after the crossing, we reached the edge of Yunnan province. 3 people had lost toenails. Most had dropped over 20 pounds. But there were still 10 of us. One more river stood in our way, wider than the Yalu, current fiercer. The Mekong was nothing like the Yalu. The Yalu was familiar. We'd grown up alongside it. Its currents, its moods, its shallows, all of that lived in our bones. The Mekong was something else. Wide, murky. How deep it ran, how hard it pulled, we had no idea. I looked at OGM Sil. How does it look? She studied the water for a long time. Stronger than the Yalu. We linked hands going in. 10 of us clasped hand to hand in a line. GM Sil led. I anchored the back. When the water hit our waists, the line shuddered. The current yanked sideways. We held. One person lets go, it's over. Nobody let go. 10 hands, locked together, all the way across. I can still feel that grip in my palms. Beyond the Mekong, the Laotian jungle. Different from the Chinese mountains. Heavier. The air clung, breathing felt like pulling something solid into your lungs. We sweated through the nights. Insects swarmed by day. Yun Sun Mi walked point, eyes trained on the ground. Her years as the squad's explosive specialist paying off on every step. She spotted 2 hidden traps before we walked into them. On the 3rd night, I.M. Son Wei went down. A viper. She'd stepped wrong in the dark. Her calf began swelling immediately. Ri Jung Wei dropped to her knees, squeezed the wound, and drew out the venom with her mouth. Son Wei looked at me through cold sweat. Leave me here. I held her eyes. We are 10. We don't leave as 9. Jung Wei kept watch beside her through the night. By dawn, the swelling had started to ease. Son Wei stood slowly, favoring her leg, but she stood. Cho Young Sun stepped up beside her without a word and offered her shoulder. Son Wei leaned in. The 2 of them walked like that, one body, moving together. Watching their backs, something settled in my chest. I was going to get these women out. The night we crossed into Thailand. Bak Myong Hwa looked up at the stars and said, "South, this is it." Everyone started walking without another word. No map, no money, no one to guide us. But we had direction, and we had each other. That night, through the trees, a glow appeared in the distance. Bangkok, still far, but visible. I counted as I walked. 1, 2, 3, 10. All 10, still moving. That night, that was enough. When we reached the South Korean embassy in Bangkok, no one walked through the door first. 4 months of walking, and we stopped at one last threshold. I turned around. 9 faces staring at me. Gaunt, limping, crusted with sweat, but their eyes were alive. I held each gaze for a moment. Then I pushed the door open. The platoon leader goes in first. Korean, from somewhere inside. A staff member stood up when she saw me. I spoke first. We came from North Korea. There are 10 of us. She looked at me. Then, without a word, she walked past me and stepped outside. She saw the 9 people waiting. She pushed the door wide open. No, come in. No announcement. She just opened it. I still remember her hands. The day we landed in South Korea. Gang Mi Jeong pressed her face to the airplane window. The clouds are below us. Everyone crowded to the glass. Clouds beneath our feet. We were above them. The same people who had swum across the Yalu River in February now sitting above the clouds. The day we entered Hanawon, the South Korean government resettlement center for North Korean defectors, I had a room for the first time. Small, but mine. A lock on the door. I stood there touching it for a long time. A door I could lock. A door I could open. That concept felt completely foreign to me. All 9 of them are living their own lives now. Gang Mi Jeong runs a flower shop somewhere in South Gyeongsang province. She sells flowers. The woman whose eyes had gone dark after losing her daughter, she sells flowers now. Ri Jung Wei is studying for her nursing aid certification. I.M. Son Wei got into university. We stay in touch sometimes. The messages are short. That's fine. Knowing we're all still here, that's enough. These days, I work at a small cafe in Gyeonggi province. Every morning, I brew coffee and greet customers. It might sound ordinary. To me, it isn't. Choosing what I do, going where I want, eating what I want. This is what freedom is, something I only understood after arriving here. My mother is on my mind every single day. She's probably still in Hyzen. There's no way to reach her. All I can say is I miss her. When reunification comes, I want to hold her hand just once. She told me to stay alive. Mom, I'm alive. To everyone who listened, thank you. Please remember the families left behind in North Korea. Please remember that people like us exist. That's all I need. Thank you.